Good day, good evening, friends. Here we are. I think it's October the 23rd, I think. And Dialogue with K number 14. And I welcome you all to the unfolding of the mystery. And Karen has been here with me as I rewatch number 13 to remind myself of where we're at. Thank you, Karen. Welcome, Gordon. I recognize that getting ready for our interactions on the physical plane takes you a bit of practice and patience. Yes, Karen, life has to be lived and duties have to be taken care of. We're having a bit of a busy time here at this house these days, but here I am, ready to recognize you as the communicant. Oh, that sounds good, Gordon. The communicant. What would you like to talk about, Karen? Well, Gordon, our trip to the what you call the God consciousness, that radiant void of oceanic white light, the blissful contact with that consciousness that knows no bounds. That was really quite something. And I'm very glad that we did it together. Great, Karen. I'm glad you probably remember it better than I do. So your observations? Well, losing one's personality, the dimensions of one's desires and fears and ambitions, losing that for some spread of time of the world of no time. That was amazing. I suddenly wasn't Karen anymore. I was a spirit, a radiant spirit in a radiant ocean of light, who was happy doing nothing and going nowhere. Happy, would you say, Karen? Happy? Well, that's one way of describing it. Perhaps others would use the word serene, acceptance of all that may or may not happen. In fact, well, as you know, not much happens there anyway. No, it's not a place of events and interactions. It's a place of being. Did you get the sense that you'd been there before, Karen? Oh, yes, definitely. I recognized the parameters of the experience, if you don't mind me saying so. I thought, oh, here I am again. I've been here before, but I forgot. Yes, Karen, it's really quite something, isn't it? And I could sort of rattle on about remembering my first time there, but really there wasn't a first time. There was a time when I went thinking it was my first time, but it wasn't. It was merely another visit. You don't mean merely, do you, Gordon? No, I'm just a phrase for the conversation. There's nothing merely about that experience. So, if you'd care to describe it in your own words farther. Don't let me interrupt, as I have a habit of doing. Well, certainly it's something one could recommend to anybody who feels like they're ready for it. And I recognize that lots of folks are not feeling ready for it. Certainly, when I returned to the comfort zones of the astral plane in which I move around and meet up with people and friends, one can see that, as one describes it, there are those who think it's a marvelous adventure, but something they're not quite ready for. Yes, Karen, it's a bit like mountaineers describing the adventure of going up Everest or some mountain of like stature. People are very impressed to hear about it, but they wouldn't ever think of doing it themselves, and for very good reason. So yeah, I do see that. People, you come back from that experience and try to relate the dimensions of it, the feeling of it. It's not easy. And you are limited by your audience's lack of perceptive ability, because, well, many of them cannot conceive of being nobody and going nowhere. It seems, in the context of their fairly new astral adventures, where they can go here, there, and everywhere and satisfy their heart's desires, to meet up and travel. It seems a bit daft. Why go someplace where you can't actually go anywhere or do anything, when here on the astral plane you can go all around the planet, or the astral level of the planet. Yes. But you can still convey one's joy at the liberation, can you not? I have to practice that, Gordon. I was a little troubled trying to convey that, but I'll get better with a little more experience there. Gordon, do you think that is our true home? The ocean of light, where everything seems understandable, but nothing seems like it's worth doing. For me, it is, Karen. It's more of a home than the astral planes of the afterlife. Although I fully recognize that many people feel on their first arrival there that really is home. And I certainly wouldn't wish to disabuse them of that perception, that illusion. They're entitled to it. And who am I to redirect their energies? Yes, Gordon, I share your understanding there, even though I'm a bit of a newbie at that understanding, but I see where you're going with it. Will you be taking others of your group there, now that you know how to get there? Well, I'm going to try, but I have a feeling I'm going to have a go on my own, and you're not going to be there to show me a few little tricks on how to get there. Well, Karen, they're not really tricks. They're sort of giving up of your baggage, of your personality baggage, of your ego baggage, of your recognizable traits. Those things that help to define who you are to yourself. It's letting go of all that, don't you think? Yes, I see what you're saying. It is a lot letting go. That, of course, is what many people don't want to do or can't do or can't conceive of even trying to do. Here they are feeling all calm and happy and wise and wonderful and at ease with all their relations, either with people that have passed into the afterlife with them or those that are on the way. You know, they feel totally, well, almost totally at ease with that sort of thing. And you're telling them, or I'm telling them, to, give it up and experience something even more wonderful. And they look at you like you're a little, well, bonkers. Yes, Karen, I get it. And, but, give it a whirl when you feel up to it. And it'll be another adventure, even if it's not, as successful as you would like it to be. Yes, well, that was a real revelation and a real gift from you to me to show me how to do that or guide me towards that and help me unload my baggage so I could enter. It's a little scary, I'd have to admit, being nobody and going nowhere and doing nothing. It undermines a lot of what we think makes us real and alive and growing. We have a sense of growing as we pass on into the astral and expand our understanding of who we are and what we can do. But this doesn't seem quite like an expansion. It seems more like a giving up. Yes, I hear you, Karen, it does. And once you get used to it, you stop trying to define it. At least I do. Or I have learned to let go of the definitions. But if you're in that stage, then by all means, try to sort it out for yourself. I certainly went through that stage myself. You were telling me, Gordon, that many mystics of the various religions have experienced that, light, that ocean of light, and tried to find many ways to convey it in their day, 500, 700, 1,000 years ago, and convey it in a way that was acceptable to the religious authorities of the time. And so I see that I'm a small part of a tradition there, even though I suppose lots of people like me have had this experience and not spoken of it in any, what would you say, Gordon, historically meaningful way? Yes, I suppose I would, Karen. Some religious of the mystics, St. Teresa of Avila, there's many others, managed to get their descriptions down in some kind of form that was communicated later and has come down to us in the present day. So there is a tradition of that, no question. And although I'm sure, as you say, many have done this and not taken care to record it because they couldn't see the point. And I can get that too. There's a sense that just as everyone gets to the afterlife, whether they like it or not, whether they believe in it or not, once you've been to the radiant void, as some call it, the ocean of light, you can sort of scrape into an understanding that everybody's going to get there at some point, whether you give them travel tips or not. They are going to give up their identities, even just for a few seconds of that marvelous eternity, and experience it in its full blissfulness before returning to Earth for another life, or returning to another planet for another life. Yes, here we are, sharing that experience and sharing these thoughts. And as we do this, Karen, I'm starting to lose who I am as I talk to you. I drift into your consciousness as you, try to describe it. And I guess that's the fate of travelers in that eternity. Yes, Gordon, travelers in eternity, that's a good way to describe ourselves. And even as I come back to the relative time of the life in the astral, the regular life of the happily dead in the summer lands. Karen, I'm wondering now if you have had any experiences with our extraterrestrial visitors in the astral. I'm not sure if I have, Gordon. Some souls that you meet here tell you that they were birthed on other planets and evolved on other planets. But as they say this, they're looking quite human. And you're not really sure if they are who they say they are or where they're from, because they look very human, because that's who they are now. And maybe I just haven't opened up to the possibility of strange-looking creatures being here on the astral, as they are on Earth when they interact with the living human beings and take them on journeys as they are reported to do. Karen, I've had the experience of that, and almost as if they sense that they want me to do this. I'm standing talking or telepathing with a couple of astral humans, and who will make such claims and then show me their other forms. Briefly, they'll morph into the other forms and then morph back, as if to say, look who I am, look who I am here, look what I can do. And they have unusual bodies and facial markers, noses, ears, eyes that all look a little different to the human standard. They look a bit like the Greys, they look like a bit like the Reptilians, they look like a bit like the Pleiadians. And they just sort of play with me and sort of do a little, change in form for a few seconds and then go back to the the human look. And they give me the impression they want to live an astral life as a human in order to understand what that is like for us. So my experiences have been sort of limited to that, and I guess I'll have more as I go along. There is one mantis being who was introduced to me by Regina, and then I tried to communicate with him, and he looked rather like other mantis beings that contactees have described. But he was careful not to, how shall I say, freak me out. But he did insist that we had been, how shall I say, partners in the dance for many thousands of years. And that I was only slowly coming to remember who I was in relation to him, if he was a him. And he gave me enough of his consciousness and his look to keep me going for a while without, spoiling any of my illusions. So I suspect there will be more of that as time goes by. As time goes by. Certainly I've been reading up and watching videos of others who have had regular contacts with mantis beings and have experienced journeyings with them and healings with them and expansions of knowledge. And I can see that will be coming down the road toward me as I am ready to be ready to accept it. And I one day hope to accept that myself, Gordon. As I have mentioned before, you do seem to be several steps ahead of me on the journey. And I'm always looking towards you to see what you're doing, to see if I can learn to do it. And I've learned several things from you already. The activities involved in retrieving the unconsciously deceased, the ones who need some help moving on. I've learned a bit of that from you. I'm getting quite good at it myself at this point, although I definitely need more practice. Karen, I get the sense that you're also getting quite good at pulling living people who are probably your acquaintances and friends up out of their bodies and having them travel with you a little bit and then bringing them back to their sleeping bodies so that they will have memories of lucid dreams of such travels. Ah, you found me out, Gordon. Yes. I'm getting, well, I wouldn't say good at it, but I'm getting practiced at it. And one can only hope that their lucid dreams will be something of a revelation to them and not just some vague, misty memory. Yes, Gordon, we do try, myself and my group, to influence the warmongers on planet Earth. But it's a tough job getting through to them, and even, we see angels with much greater experience than us trying to do the same and not having that much effect. Because there are, other spirit beings who would encourage them in their aggressive warlike activities. We see that. There's a struggle around those souls, And we are fairly new at this sort of activity and not that good at it. There are others who are much more efficient. And we have to learn to understand that aggressive warlike activity has its place on the planet. And much as we might like to change it, we cannot do much. Yes, Karen, it's an ingrained habit for mankind. It's an ingrained habitual activity and attitude. Many souls are still involved in it. And I've been through that despair, that form of despair myself, and have learned to cast it aside as not really contributing much. You have to accept, or I found I had to accept what souls are doing with their energies and their abilities. And all experience the karma of their actions, whether good, bad, or indifferent. And that does seem to be something of a law, experiencing the results and consequences of one's actions. I'm thinking of that, I think it's a biblical saying, judge not that you be not judged. And I do see the truth of that. Karen, I'm wondering, do you see what I would call the force of evolution? It seems to me to be very mysterious. And no matter how we align ourselves with it or try to understand it and try to be, helpers in its forward motion, it doesn't really seem to matter. You mean, Gordon, that it goes about its business with or without our consent? Yeah, that's kind of what I mean. There's this force of evolution that pushes us humans, and I suspect animals and nature spirits, onward and upward to greater degrees of, complexity and functioning. And it's almost regardless of what we as, would-be disciples, if you like, would-be helpers of the force, the mysterious force, it goes on without us, and we can join it or not join it. But it seems to me it has its own power and volition. And, yeah. It can lead to a sense of helplessness or uselessness. I agree, but because we think we're so brave and innovative and trying so much to help out that we get attached to that. At least I see myself attached to it, and. Maybe you're not, at that realization at this point, Karen, but I seem to be, and I'm not wishing it upon you. I just wanted to share it with you. Well, I'm getting what you're saying in an elementary form, but I'm not sure whether I can agree or disagree with it. But it's a very interesting point, and I will certainly, contemplate it, meditate on it for the next little while. And the force of evolution, you say. You don't suppose it's God organizing it, do you? Well, Karen, I can't seem to see God as a being of any kind that organizes anything. It's a consciousness to me. It's not a being, it's a consciousness that we all participate in to one degree or another. But it certainly can get by without us, as far as I can see. It reminds me a bit of the Gaia, our planet. I mean, does Gaia really care if there's X number of billions of souls on it, or half that number? You know, and I'm not predicting any great disaster when I say that, but it seems to me Gaia gets by pretty well on its own, energies. But, maybe I'm not seeing the big picture. People often will say in the conversations like this, look down at the ants on the ground. Do we care that much about the millions of those little ants scurrying about? Are they even conscious of us? And sort of, it's a relative thing. And, I see the point. We tend to think our human activities are oh so significant and important. And maybe they're not. Yes, Gordon, I get a bit of that when I get into a contemplative state here in the astral and contemplate the lives of, physical human beings going through their activities and their fears and their desires and their daily regimen. And, I wonder, is it really as significant for them as they think it is? And then I get to considering myself and the relative significance or lack of significance of my astral life. Anyways, we could go on like this forever, couldn't we? And yes, Karen, and we will. We are reaching the end of the time sequence on this video. And I thank you for your willing participation. Once again, it's been lots of fun. And I wish you well until the next time I encounter you. Yes, Gordon, me too. I often drop in on you and you don't know, but, I don't mess with you too much. I just drop in and see what you're up to. Okay, Karen, thank you. Bye-bye.